All right, what is going on, everybody? This is the live session of the Boxing Source here on January 15th, 2020. And we want to, go through a few things, few random things within the sport of boxing that has, happened over the course of the midweek. Um, go through a few news and notes and then see if anyone is willing to join this particular um, you know live stream here. So what I'm going to do is I am checking out a few things here and there to basically invite people to join into this live discussion. And then, also if they want to, basically speak on some of the topics, but we, also, have, an open invitation for a special guest. Hopefully, they will be able to join in to talk about this particular subject because I, had an offer for them to join this particular live stream. But before they get on, just wanted to go through a few things here and see if we could just talk about these particular topics before the special guest comes on. I think that they had a previous engagement and that they pretty much completed that speaking engagement. So they should be, able to come on here fairly soon. So thing about it is that wanted to add them on here real fast. Once they are able to basically join in through the invite link. So that is let's see if they're able to get on here. So see if I could, basically, I think that he is kind of incognito here at this particular point. Um,
I can hear you, Jr.
yeah, yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Um, I think he just, like I said, I think he just got completed with the speaking engagement. I think that right now he's kind of enjoying a bag of pork rinds or, Lay's potato chips or something like that. Um,
I'm opening up my food. I got some curry goat right now that I'm
oh
about to bite.
man, oh man, yo, yo, that's it, yo, that's yeah, buddy. Um, but this is our guest, Matthew Brown. He has been on, um, a live. Uh, that we have done here on the YouTube page. He is the guest that is on the Boxing the Source Radio Show podcast. Um, and I did extend an invitation to him for a particular topic. But before we get into that, um, Brother Matthew Brown is the host of the uh, this boxing updates rumor report, and I think that he got completed with his latest rumor report. And I think I overheard what he was talking about, and he was not necessarily in good spirits
No,
from what he had to tell the people in reference to his rumor report. Um, and I did, comment on his rumor report, and I once I heard that news, I was not surprised because of one key um thing that I think was disclosed um in leading to when the Wilder Fury 2 fight became official, and before you had the first press conference that was over in Los Angeles, California. So I want Matthew Brown to kind of like go into this a little bit and briefly why he is disappointed in this news.
All right, boom, check it. So basically, these motherfuckers, PBC and Top Rank, Al Heyman, Bob Arum, the deepest stables in boxing, what's supposed to be the biggest pay-per-view card of the year. You know these motherfuckers gonna give us on the pay-per-view that we gotta spend $75, $85 on the pay-per-view. Charles Martin versus Gerald Washington, and then Emmanuel Navarrete versus some Filipino guy. What the fuck is that? What is that? Like, this is the time where we should be getting the best undercard that they can put together so that they can grab the fans and maintain the fans that are going to purchase this pay-per-view. Like, why are we getting this card, JR? Explain that to me.
Okay. Well, of course, fans of Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury, were, basically excited that the rematch is official. We kind of like knew that it would be for February 22nd, that it would be in Las Vegas, and that they were having it at the MGM Grand Garden Arena. Now, of course, some would say that they would try to build this as the biggest pay-per-view event, or a very big pay-per-view event. When it was initially announced, or kind of like official or whatever it was, we did speak on it. I think that was December 29th podcast of the Boxing and Source radio show. And one of the things that I kind of like brought up was that you have this as a joint pay-per-view, joint promotion, Premier Boxing Champions, whether you have a Tom Brown or somebody like that, being the promoter on the PBC side. You might hear, like I said, I think it is Tom Brown, because I think he spoke in the press conference. You do have Bomb Squad Promotions, I think, putting their name on this particular event, and you have Top Rank. So you have a PBC type of card with Top Rank put together, and that you would expect that if you have someone from PBC and someone from Top Rank at the main event, that you would kind of like try to put it, at least at the very least, put maybe a couple more guys within your stable to go against each other. But back then on December 29th, I didn't really expect that to, basically happen. And then I think it was like a few days later that it was posted. I think it was on Boxing Scene or something like that.
Yeah.
That the card was going to be basically structured with, I would say about, 3 fights featuring a PBC fighter or PBC fighters, and 3 fights featuring top ranked fighters. And that would fill out the overall card for the pay-per-view, and then leading into the pay-per-view. So when I saw that, I was like, oh boy, here we go. You could have had opportunities to basically put one of the guys against each other. I know that one of the ideas that we would have had possibly was Adam Kaunaki, being part of the card, as I think Matt mentioned. Adam Kaunaki could have potentially fought Kubrat Pulev for the IBF championship, but we didn't necessarily have a concrete decision on what would happen with the IBF title at the time. So the current champion, IBF champion Anthony Joshua, I think most likely decided to relinquish the WBO version of the heavyweight title. And so he would keep the IBF title and he would face Kubrat Pulev at a later date that will be announced. So, for the meantime, you don't have that IBF vacant or possible vacant IBF heavyweight championship fight between Kubrat Pulev and Adam Kaunaki. That would have been part of the card. That's one of the things that we kind of brought up as a potential matchup that could have been a co-feature, a perfect co-feature bout.
Yep.
For Wilder versus Fury, but we don't necessarily have that. Okay, so that's basically out of the window. There was also news on the Top Rank side, I think it was, that they basically had signed Jarrell Big Baby Miller. So he could have been basically included in this card that we have. But that is, not necessarily the case here. And so when you do have those type of factors and things like that, that just makes the card in general not, looking, all too hot.
It's trash, JR. There's no other way around it.
And
it's trash.
And the thing about it is like, well, this was like Matt said, this is the opportunity for the sport of boxing to feature themselves in a bout or in a fight card or basically a date that is kind of like set for boxing. Like there's no real major events that's going on. This NFL would have been long gone. Super Bowl would have already been played. Pro Bowl. Oh wait, nobody really watches the Pro Bowl, but you would have had the Super Bowl out of the way. You wouldn't have to worry about college basketball because conference championship week wouldn't have started yet. So there's nothing in reference to March Madness. So there's no real major thing going on, for anything to kind of like get people away from watching boxing. So they could have had that shot to, go forward and make this one of the biggest and best cards in the sport of boxing in like the past, at minimum, the past 3 years. They could have had that chance. And they didn't necessarily, do that. And so, like Matt said, they dropped the ball here with this. They definitely dropped the ball here with this. And I know Matt said that, he's like, nah, man, I'm about to go on strike with this, man. I'm about to, he said, he's going on strike for this, man. It's just, and I kind of, and I don't blame him in this case because, I mean, PBC and Top Rank have one of the most extensive rosters that are out there in the sport of boxing. Okay, so yeah, you could have your bouts that are kind of that sit on its own, like a a Lomachenko versus Lopez or something like that, or maybe I could probably think of something on the other side, but you could still have a chance to, like, say, for example, you could have, I think it is the WBC middleweight championship be on the line between Jamal Charlo, and Chris Eubank Jr. That
Yep.
would be an example of what PBC could do. Is yeah, like Jamal Charlo versus Chris Eubank Jr. Because we saw that Charlo and Chris Eubank was part of the co-feature bout to the main event that involved Jamal Charlo. So you could have had that included in this particular fight card. Um, I would probably think of a couple of other things you could have had maybe a super welterweight bout on there. Maybe you know Arislande. I know this would probably wouldn't fit well, but Arislande Lara versus Erickson Lubin. Maybe because J Rock is fighting this weekend, and Jared Hurd is fighting next weekend, so they can't put either one of those guys as part of that card. Um, Trying to figure out like what else they could have fit in this particular fight card. Oh, I know. I think I have an idea of what could have possibly been included if I gotta like verify this thing here. But possibly, what about a fight between Ray Vargas and Rigo?
Oh my God, that would have been great. Oh my God.
Ray Vargas versus Guillermo Rigondeaux.
Oh my God.
That could have been part of the card. Also, I know that you probably would like this. What they could have done at the very least. I know he's my guy and all of that, but they should have had Gary Russell Jr. against Tuksot Niambayar on this card.
Yep.
There is, no real reason why they should have that fight main event in Pennsylvania when you could have it as part of a card in Las Vegas. You're
And why isn't
putting,
Sean Porter on this card? He ain't
yeah,
fights in September.
yeah, he fought since September, man. Like Sean Porter, Sean Porter. Well, I could have had see if they could put a rematch between Sean Porter and your Dennis Ugas there.
Exactly.
Um, but they got this is like I think this is what they've already had spread out. Talking about with the welterweight division, Danny Garcia has a fight. Your Dennis Ugas already has a fight. I think Sergey Lipinets already has a fight. You know,
Lipinets was supposed to be on the card, but they didn't even finalize the deal yet for
uh,
the IBF interim
oh,
title.
the interim title was that against
They fighting over the
Abdul
money
Karov?
against Kujatillo.
Yeah, Kuchatil. Yeah. So that's being hung up. So we don't know if that would be solidified as a particular fight. On the other side, for Top Rank, I mean, you got Jose Ramirez traveling to China facing Victor Postol. What is that? February
Come on.
1st. You know,
Exactly.
what else we got here? I was trying to figure out who
They
else.
should have put Miller on the card.
Yeah, that's yeah. I was saying like Miller should be on the card. Um, whoa! I think I have another one that could have been on the card for Top Rank side, and I'm trying to verify this right here. I did talk about one fight that could have been on there for the WBC featherweight championship between Gary Russell Jr. and Tuksot Niambayar.
Yeah.
Right? Another fight that could have been on would have been for the WBC Super Featherweight Championship with Miguel Berchelt and Oscar Valdez.
Yep. That would have been a perfect co-feature.
Burchelt versus Valdez for the WBC Super Featherweight Championship. You could have had that because you don't have them basically doing anything right now. The thing with the Marine Jamel Herring is he's going to be facing Carl Frampton, and they're going to have that over in the United Kingdom most likely. So, and pushing this right now, you better pay Jamel Herring $2 million for that fight. Pay him $2 million. Pay him $2 million. Simplify, baby, simplify. So we've named a good number of matchups that could have been part of this particular card, but the whole issue is with a lot of these promotional banners and promotional organizations is that they want to put too many of these fights as a main event instead of having them as co-featured bouts for a big fight in a big setting. I think we've named, let me see here while I kind of like do this. Hold on a sec, Matt. I'm going to name like 4 of the fights that could have been on. Ray Vargas versus Guillermo Rigondeaux. Gary Russell Jr. against Tuksat Nyambayar. Oscar Valdez versus Miguel Burchelt. And like we were saying, I think it is Kudratilov Abdulkasarov against Sergey Lepinets. Those are like 4 fights that we named. Basically 4 fights that we named that could have been part of this card. I know that Matt kind of talked about them potentially adding the WBO super bantamweight champion Emmanuel Navarrete on this particular card. But I'm like, Navarrete has fought 50 times in 5 months. So having him on there isn't necessarily going to work. Or you know what? That just started something. I just started something there. If you're going to have Emmanuel Navarrete on there, and you talk about another fight that could have been PBC and Top Rank, you could have had the unification bout between Emmanuel Navarrete and Rhaegar Vargas for the WBC and WBO. The WBC and WBO Super Bantamweight Championships. You could have had that fight. So actually, I named 4, but I would take away the thing with Ray Vargas and Rigondeaux and put Ray Vargas against Emmanuel Navarrete. Those would be the 4. Those would be the 4 fights.
Motherfuckers, man. Motherfuckers.
So I mean, with that, I'm like, come on, what are y'all doing, man? Like, what are y'all really doing to try to promote the sport of boxing? This is supposed to be one of the biggest events in the sport of boxing.
Yep.
Bob Arum, the chairman of Top Rank, said, "Oh my goodness, this is gonna have 2 million pay-per-view buys. My goodness, it's gonna be a sellout. We're gonna have 2 million buys. It's gonna be an exciting fight. Oh my goodness, it's gonna be great." But come on, man. Like, you don't how are you gonna have 2 million buys when you don't build up the fights? Now, one of the points that Matt made in his video was that while Floyd Mayweather was a pay-per-view star, okay, whoever he worked with while he was doing the pay-per-views, they made sure that the undercards were basically stacked. At the very least, you would have a co-feature bout that you'd be like, oh man, my goodness, that's gonna be good. That's gonna be a really, really good co-feature bout. One of the
Come on, we had Danny Garcia versus Lucas Matisse
Matisse
on the
as the
Floyd under.
co-feature
So come
with
on,
Canelo. Yeah, we had. I was like, yo, once they made that announcement for that particular bout as the co-feature, people were like, "Oh snap, yo, that's gonna be a bad fight. That's gonna be a bad fight." And that was the final of the the super lightweight. Yeah, I think it was a super lightweight tournament that they had. Because Danny Garcia had defeated Zab Judah and Lucas Matisse had defeated Lamont Peterson. So they were meeting at the final of the tournament that they made up, and they had it as a co-feature bout for Floyd and Canelo. And man, they just had lots and lots of people there to not only tune in there in Las Vegas, but also on pay-per-view. And it was just a crazy scene overall for that. So I don't see why these two groups, whether it's Al Heyman or Tim Smith or Tom Brown or who is it, Bob Arum or
Deontay Wilder, because Bomb Promotions is part.
Yeah, Bomb Squad Promotions is part of it, but sorry, but this is one of the rare times where I'm not gonna blame Deontay Wilder. I'm not gonna blame Deontay Wilder. Who is it? Todd DeBow. Todd DeBow's the top ranked matchmaker, right? Like how do you drop the ball on this opportunity to make this particular fight card one of the biggest fight cards in years? You just can't. You can't do that, man. I feel you, man. That's very disappointing. It's very disappointing.
When was the last time Deontay Wilder had a good undercard?
He had Sean
Severn
Porter
2?
on one. I think was that the Severn 2 where Sean Porter was in it?
Severn 2, I think.
Okay. Yeah, because I know that Sean Porter was part of. Yeah, I think it was that one. But oh yeah, that Porter fought who did Garcia knock out last year? Shoot, that guy's who's it? The guy, man. He's a regular dude. Cause yeah, because Sean Porter fought in that undercard. He ended up fighting Adrian Granados in that card.
Mm-hmm.
That's who he fought in that card, Adrian Granados. So, I mean, that's kind of
man here to talk about kind of move for that.
Oh no! Because we only got a half an hour. You got another thing. You got another speaking engagement. So we got to get right into this here. All right, now the Boxing Source has had a few controversial topics over the course of its existence. Okay, one of those topics is in reference to a specific fighter. I have to go through with this. So, one of these particular topics that we have talked about has made me and Matt engage in multiple back and forth discussions and arguments. And so, we need to go through this topic one more time because I have offered Matt a proposal in reference to this particular topic. Now, a few months ago, me and Matt had a bet for a steak dinner in reference to the rematch between Anthony Joshua and Andy Ruiz. Okay. Um, we know that Anthony Joshua won the fight, and Matt ended up losing the bet and got a steak dinner to give to me.
It wasn't just me. America lost. America lost JR.
America, America lost. Now, my proposal is this: I will offer a steak dinner to Matthew Brown. No strings attached. Like if he's not able to basically explain it, he doesn't lose anything. Okay. The topic is Luis Ortiz, right? And one of the things that we have gone back and forth on is that a particular fighter from the UK ducked Luis Ortiz. And that person's name is Dylan Whyte, the body
No, his
snatcher.
name is Chatty Patty. Chatty Patty.
For some old news. Okay. Now, Matt, along with other people that side with Luis Ortiz, claim that Dylan Whyte ducked Luis Ortiz. Now,
It's
Matt,
not a claim, it's a fact.
well, Matt, I want you to further go into why you feel that Dylan Whyte ducked Luis Ortiz.
Well, it's very simple. Okay. First, the WBC ordered Dillian Whyte to fight Luis Ortiz for the second mandatory position to Deontay Wilder because we all already knew that Dominic Brazil was the mandatory. He refused. All right, fine. You want to say he's protesting the WBC? Whatever. What about when Dillian Whyte challenged Luis Ortiz to a matchup in the winter of 2018? Okay. Winter 2018. Dillian Whyte challenged Luis Ortiz to a fight. Luis Ortiz accepted that fight. He said, hey, I'll come to the UK. It's cool. I'm going to be some respect into you, young boy. You want to talk about this old man? And then what did Dillian Whyte do? He decided to fight Derek Chisora. Oh, it's a domestic rivalry. It's going to make more money. So why the fuck you challenge this man to a fight if you wasn't planning on fighting him? When has it ever been acceptable for a man to challenge another man to a fight and then punk out? Even when I was in elementary school, if I agree to fight you, 3 o'clock, we meeting by the jungle gym and we getting it rolling in the dirt. Why is it Dillian Whyte thinks that he is above the man code? Why? Because he's a little bitch. Chatty Patty bitch. Mr. Oh, he got dropped in sparring. Well, you got dropped in the real fight. Chatty Patty. Oh, Anthony Joshua, he got therapeutic usage substance. He's on PEDs. Well, you got popped for PEDs twice, Dillian Whyte. Dillian Whyte, all he know how to do is talk about other fighters. What about you, Dillian? Fight Luis Ortiz. Show what kind of man you are.
Okay. So in reference to this particular subject, you bring up this thing about the WBC ordering a fight between Luis Ortiz and Dylan Whyte for the second mandatory. Right? Okay. What else happened around that particular time when the WBC ordered that second mandatory fight?
You tell me.
Okay. At the same time that the WBC ordered that second mandatory fight, the IBF ordered a fight between Dylan Whyte and Kubrat Pulev for the
He
spot
turned that down too.
mandatory
He
for
turned that down
the
too.
IBF. Hold
And he
on.
turned that down too.
Hold on. Now here's the difference. Both the IBF and the WBC made those orders. You know how orders go when it comes to those things.
I got to be in the studio by 8 o'clock.
All right. So now the IBF ordered a purse bid date. The WBC ordered a purse bid date. The IBF held their purse bid date. What did the WBC do?
They were told that Dillian Whyte's not going to fight for it, so they didn't bother with it.
Okay, but here's the issue. If you're going to order any type of mandatory fight and you don't hold a purse bid, why didn't you have someone else in Dillian Whyte's place? The
They
IBF
didn't
had
have
someone.
to.
The IBF had
This.
someone.
Hold on, Poppy. I'm gonna tell you why. This was because this was specifically to satisfy Dillian Whyte.
That wasn't the decision by them for the decision.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. Yo, you just don't like the WBC, man. That's all it is.
That's not my issue.
That's all it is. It is your issue, man. You don't like the WBC.
Why would you have anything in reference to? Okay, so here's my thing then, right?
You hate Mexicans. You hate Mexicans.
How you go put that on? Put it on the video. I don't hate Mexicans.
He hate Canelo.
No.
He hate Navarrete. He hate Ray Vargas.
Vargas. Miguel
Oscar de la Hoya. He hate Chavez
Eddie
Jr.,
Ruiz.
Chavez Sr., Ruiz. He hates Suleiman.
Suleiman. Yo, a lot of people hate Suleiman. I'm not.
Hey, Suleiman, my dog. I like Suleiman. That's my dog, man.
Oh man, but you know the thing with Dillian Whyte was they were willing to put they were willing to make that fight as long as it would be for the mandatory spot.
But we knew the mandatory belonged to Dominic Brazil. We already knew that. Why is it that I knew since 2017 that Dominic Brazil was the mandatory, but you, Eddie Hearn, and the boxing public didn't? I'm not smarter than all you guys. Most of you guys got bachelors and masters. I went to public school. Okay,
then
you guys are supposed to be smart.
Well, here's the thing that Eddie Hearn would have to prove to you. If you knew that Dominic Brazil would be the mandatory challenger in 2017, then Eddie Hearn would have to send you the copy of the email that he received from.
Yo, Eddie Hearn's a liar. Eddie Hearn's a liar. Yo, he's a liar. He's a liar. He's a liar.
He said that he wouldn't be the mandatory for the WBC title, but seems like someone wanted to join into the boxing discussion. It is the vice president of the Deontay Wilder fan club.
Mike Grady.
Mr. Mike Grady, what's going on?
Not much. I hear James over here selling this propaganda.
Talking bullshit.
No.
Talking
James selling this propaganda.
Here's my thing. Why would you even order a second mandatory if you're not
my man? This is what they do.
Again,
what are you talking about?
Again, but here's my thing. If you say that Dillian Whyte ducked Luis Ortiz, what offer did Ortiz team send over to Dillian Whyte?
Yo, it was Dillian Whyte who allegedly was making the offer. Listen, Luis Ortiz was chilling inside his rocking chair in his old folks' home, not bothering nobody when Dillian Whyte spoke his name. Dillian Whyte is the one that spoke his name, my man. So if you're going to challenge a man to a fight, you got to show up. You got to show up. That's just the way it goes. You don't challenge a man to a fight, and then when he accepts, you punk out. It don't go like that.
Nah. Well, isn't one of the things that you said in reference to how fights are made and concerned? So who is the person that approves or declines fights for Luis Ortiz?
Manager.
And who is the manager?
Who is that? Jimenez?
No, not the manager. Who is the one that has the final say on who Ortiz fights? It's not the manager.
The manager. It is the manager. No. Listen, according to the Muhammad Ali Act, the manager approves or disapproves of opponents. I don't know what you're trying to get me to say.
Okay.
All I know is that Dillian Whyte challenged to a fight. Luis Ortiz said, "I will fight you," and then Dillian Whyte decided to fight Derek Chisora instead. That's all I know.
No, you said that. You said that when offers are sent off to guys over in the PBC, that they are sent off to a specific person. Who
Oh,
is
you
that
talking about
person?
Heyman?
Exactly.
Okay, what's your point? Are you all right, Jr.? Before you go with this bullshit, are you trying to say that Dillian Whyte made an offer to fight Luis Ortiz in December of 2018? Are you going to try to say that, Jr.? Please let me know.
Hey, you know me. I'll fact check. Unlike you, I'll
He
fact check.
didn't. I don't
Oh,
need to fact check.
okay then.
Got
So
all the
what
fact.
did Jay
Yo,
Jimenez say?
come on, man. Oh, sorry. I apologize.
Yo, your store be wildin', yo. Your store be mad wildin', man. But yo, all I know is that I could look up or pull up something from Jay
Yo,
Jimenez.
Mike Grady, where are you at? What the hell is that in your background?
He in the gym?
Oh,
Yep. I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. I figured that. I was like, yo, he's got to be in the gym, son. He's got to be in the gym, you know. So, but
I'm
yeah,
about to leave now.
so true. But yeah, that's the thing, Matt, is that yo, you're gonna have to say what did Ortiz send over to Dylan White
why
to
would
fight?
Ortiz send off an offer when it was Dillian Whyte who made the challenge? Yo, you making excuses, my man.
I'm not. Oh no, I'm
You
not.
are. You making
Okay,
excuses.
okay.
You
Like I
love
said, I
making
fact check.
excuses for these punk
I
ass
fact check.
fighters.
I fact check. So you know what? I fact check. So what I'm gonna do is I will pull up documentations in reference to
Ah, here we
when things
go.
were sent out
Here we go.
to
The fake
Ortiz's team.
news.
And nope, this ain't
Fake
fake news. It's
news.
on boxing scene. It's on
Fake
boxing.
news.
It is on.
Because boxing scene never gets it wrong. Okay. Fake
Hey,
news.
look, they have Hall of Famers writing on boxing scene, so
Yeah.
so you do have that. But we do have Mike. Well, Mike is getting prepared to roll out of here, and I think that he
Yeah.
missed the beginning of this live discussion. And what we did kind of talk about in the live discussion
I'm
was
still here.
yeah, what we did talk about in the live discussion that the fight with Wilder and Fury, that the undercard is going to be crappy, man. It's going to be crappy. They're going to have Charles Martin. I think it's Charles Martin against who is it? Gerald Washington, and they're going to have
That
Emmanuel
should be a good
Navarrete
scrap. Charles Martin should win.
against Gerald Washington. I don't know, man. According to some people, Gerald Washington the GOAT, and he has improved. He has improved. Consider a little bit. So that could be a fairly close fight, but that's not anything that we kind of could be looking forward to in a card of this magnitude. So we potentially had
Look for this
something
car.
where we could have had fights like Ray Vargas against
Yeah.
Emmanuel Navarrete in the unification bout. You could have had Miguel Bertel against Oscar Valdez. That could have been part of it. Jarrell Miller got signed by Top Rank, so you could have added Jarrell Miller on the fight card.
Yeah.
You could have had the mandatory for the WBC featherweight championship fight. Oh, like yo, it's like that. Wait a minute. Yo, who's that gonna train or something, yo?
Yo, I'm in the hood, man.
Yeah, I know, in the middle of the hood, son. Yo.
Matt sounds like he's taking a shower. Matt sounds like he's taking a shower.
Nah, he was on the. He was walking through the through the underpass for the L train. The L train was coming through. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, Ray Vargas. You could have had Ray Vargas versus Emmanuel Navarrete. You could have had Miguel Berchelt against Oscar Valdez. You could have had Gary Russell Jr. against Leon Bayard. You could have had as a far fetch. You could have had Adam Kaunaki versus Kubrat Pulev, but with the IBF title still in the hands of Anthony Joshua, that fight couldn't be made. What else did we name?
Yo, we could have had. No, it don't matter. What we got is fucking Washington versus Martin. Why is that a pay-per-view fight? That's not a pay-per-view fight. Come on,
What
man.
if
It's
that's a
ridiculous.
co-feature bout?
Yo, I gotta tell you something, JR.
Oh,
I'm illegal streaming the
can't hear
shit
y'all.
out of this fight.
oh, wait a minute! Come on, you can't say this on the channel.
Strike that from the tape. Strike that from the record. Strike that from the record.
Yo, I gotta edit. I gotta
Strike
edit
that from the
this, man.
record.
Yo, that's yo. I gotta do the B-roll for this one. Yo,
What I meant is I'm gonna go to the movie theater to watch it for $20. That's what I meant.
He's gonna go to Hooters to watch it.
Ridiculous,
I mean,
man.
yo, that's worse than Mike saying that he's not gonna get a ticket to go to the fight. Oh man, yo, he had to roll out a little bit. Yo, he'll probably join back in, man. But yo, yeah, I'm just very disappointed.
Me too,
by
man.
The whole thing.
Why they keep doing this to Deontay Wilder, man?
What happened? What happened? I ain't hear what y'all said.
Okay, so
we're talking about this garbage undercard.
Undercards. Usually with Deontay Wilder, when Deontay Wilder has his fights, they don't necessarily stack the undercards for his fights, whether it was against Luis Ortiz, the second time, the first time they had Andre Durrell against
Uskadagui.
Yeah.
Uskadagui.
As a co-feature, and I mean, yo, like how. Here's my thing.
They only recently started doing that though, where they took away from the undercard.
Yeah, and guess what? It affects the pay-per-view sales. I don't give a fuck what Bob Arum says. Fans that purchase these fights care about the
Yeah.
Yo, Matt. They had Badu Jack against John Pascal as the undercard for Davis Gamboa, and you couldn't put it on this?
Exactly. Oh, man. That's what I'm talking about.
But then they got to pay them, though. That's the thing. That money got to stretch.
What's your point? So you ain't think they had to pay Danny Garcia and Lucas Matisse on the Floyd undercard?
But that's 200 million, though. 200 million versus 100 million. It's more than 200 million, but you get what I'm saying.
It just don't make no sense.
I feel that they got the budget to at least try to have some type of good undercard. Like here's my thing too. Like you got Fox and you got ESPN behind it.
Exactly. Invest some fucking money. Invest some money.
Put the money up, yo. You know what I'm saying?
I would be happy if they put Antonio Brown versus Logan Paul on the undercard. I'll take that. I'll take that at this point, man. I'll take that.
Antonio Brown gonna need some money soon. I think, maybe they could have Sergey Kovalev against that woman as part of the undercard.
No, have him fight the dog.
Have him fight the dog. People will watch that. Yo. Oh,
y'all know I'm in Atlanta. I got to be hands free.
Yep. True that. Yo. Yeah, and it takes a good little while to get around that beltway, man. You gotta
be hands free.
Yeah.
I hope he's not pulling the Tyson Fury and whacking it 7 times a day.
If we wasn't on live, like whatever, I would say something back to that was slick. Because this shit is immortalized. I don't need to be slick.
You don't need to be doing all that right now.
Yeah.
Oh man. So
goddamn.
Yo, so That's the thing about this fight card, man, is that you're gonna have Navarrete in another one of his voluntary
Mm-hmm.
defenses of that WBO title. I mean, who does he have? I'm looking at the rankings here: Albert Pagara, Arnold Kagawa, Thomas Ward.
Yo,
Like,
they should have did
okay,
Navarrete versus Vargas.
that's what I'm saying. They
You
could have.
can't tell me that fight would be expensive.
I don't think that fight wouldn't be over $2 million, if that.
No, nope,
Wouldn't
absolutely
be over
not.
$2 million.
Yeah,
So you mean to tell me that you couldn't put 1 to 1.5 million towards Navarrete versus Ray Vargas in a
yep,
unification bout?
How much do
exactly.
they normally make? Because people get on pay-per-view and want to make 1.5 times what they making and stuff. People want to get paid when they're on pay-per-view.
But the thing about it is, you're not gonna for this particular fight. Like, what is this for? Feather. Man, this is super bantamweight. That's super bantamweight.
Exactly. They don't
So
make a lot of money in those
yeah,
lower weight divisions.
they don't make that much money. So they could have had this fight, fairly easily. You know,
Ridiculous,
um,
man.
and to go into Matthew's point about them not putting in the effort to stack Wilder cards, Wilder pay per views. Remember, for the first Deontay Wilder Tyson Fury fight, one of the things that they could have possibly made or was talked about as getting made was a unification bout between Gary Russell Jr. and Leo
And
Santa
Leo
Cruz.
Santa Cruz. Yep. Every single time Deontay Wilder has a fight, they sell us champagne dreams and they show up with natural ice. I'm like, oh, this is bullshit,
You
man.
mean natural light?
Yeah. Like,
Like,
come on, man.
yeah, you can't do that with what Deontay Wilder, who is the longest reigning heavyweight champion that's out there. I mean, if you're gonna try to
I'm
build,
expecting Chardonnay. They giving me Pabst Blue Ribbon.
yeah, absolute
Like,
ribbon.
come on, man.
And as much as they charge for them tickets, that's what I was apprehensive of when I first saw it, and that's what stopped me from actually going to the Ortiz fight, because I started to think about it, and I'm like, you know what? They ain't really said no big names who gonna be on this undercard, and they want you to pay these numbers,
Right.
to sit in the nosebleeds and shit. And the only person I'm gonna see is Deontay Wilder. Like, I like him, but shit, I'm probably going down to Nashville to see what's the boy Caleb Plant,
Hmm.
paying $50 for them tickets.
Right.
I might
And
try to do the little media thing again. I'm gonna see it. I'm gonna talk to you, James, about that a little later.
okay, the Plant, but I thought, wait, Plant, y'all thought Plant was gonna be in Minnesota for that, or
That's
Not
Nashville,
Nashville.
oh man,
hometown Nashville.
so they put it in Nashville thing.
Hometown. Like, vegan butts.
Yeah, Figgin butts, Figgin butts, and
The fuck
Bridgestone.
kind of name is that?
Yeah, Figgin butts. Yeah, so okay, so yeah, they're gonna have that particular thing there. Yeah, I'll look into what avenues to go through in order to apply for that particular bout, because that's in a month. That's a month from now. So yeah, you got to definitely look into that one. They should have applications for that coming out pretty soon, within the week or so. So yeah, I'll get with you on that. But yeah, going back to this thing with Wilder and Fury, man, like you were saying, Mike, that thing with Wilder and Ortiz for the rematch, like, you saw how not many people from the upper levels were, there to attend the fight. They were blocked out. Me and Matt did some dot counting, um, and we saw a good number of dots that were out there for that particular bout on the second level, and that they closed out a couple of seconds in the second level for that Ortiz fight. And it
Yep.
goes to your point about paying such a certain amount of money and not really getting a good seat, even though I feel that MGM Green Garden Arena is probably one of the best fan themed or fan oriented arenas out there for boxing, because I don't think that there's really a bad seat in MGM Green Garden Arena. It's just
Nobody would care. But nobody would care about what you're paying if you put on good fights. Nobody would care.
Yeah. Yeah.
What does that mean, Matt?
Like, if you put on a great undercard, I don't think Mike Grady's gonna be like, oh
yeah,
well, it's a bad seat. I don't want to see that shit.
Yeah.
He gonna be like, yo, this.
No. If it was more fights, more meaningful fights, then yeah, I would have been like, yeah, this is the card to go to. But yeah,
now
I can go two of them.
But going into that, I do have a question in relation to that. With this being a rematch between Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury, do you think that the amount of interest in that particular bout was big enough for them to have, enough interest to sell the amount of tickets that they sold, initially when tickets were released, that they didn't necessarily want to, try to stack the undercard because they didn't have to. They felt that they didn't have to. Is what I'm asking.
What you saying now?
That the Wilder Fury rematch was basically big enough that PBC and Top Rank felt that they would get enough interest from that fight alone to get the amount of tickets sold that they needed, or the pay-per-views that they feel that they're going to get. That because of that, they don't have to fill out the undercard or stack the undercard.
That's a legitimate reasoning to me, possibly.
No, it's not. Because
I'm saying his thought process is right. I'm not saying that's correct.
I have something to tell you, Jay, about the tickets. They were holding tickets back. Because now, if you go on the site, it's more dots available than were before in different sections. And I've been following this religiously.
Yeah,
I've been following this.
Yeah, you've been giving us updates.
Tickets.
You've been giving updates.
They ain't sell as many tickets. The dots again with a whole bunch of blue dots where there wasn't before.
Oh man! So they had released. So they held off sections of the MGM Grand Garden Arena.
They held off some of the floor seats too. Floor seats are available now too.
Oh wow! Oh goodness!
Are they still the head busting prices?
Now you could get in for $654.
In the nosebleeds.
$654.
$54. Oh boy, yo!
I support the pay-per-view, but
yo, Mike, I'm gonna have to make a couple of phone calls. I'm gonna have to make a couple of phone calls. Be like, yo, we want to get in. Yo, we put in work. We put in work, dog. Yo, 650, man. I don't know. I mean, Vegas. Vegas is a destination that it doesn't really cost all too much to get there or to find a hotel. That's another thing too. I don't really think that they have really boosted hotel prices or anything like that for this particular weekend. So that's something to also look out for. But as far as the fight itself, I don't know. I don't know. And like Mike was saying, you gotta stack the undercard to make the whole event be an event that people will basically remember, not just for the main event, but for what's happened, in the undercard. Because some undercard fights still the show. The fight of the night usually isn't the main event. It's usually what's in the undercard fight.
Because I tell you what, the damn Garcia Matisse fight was better than the main card. That was the Pacquiao and Mayweather fight, right?
No, that was Floyd Canelo.
Oh, Canelo.
Yep.
You can make an argument that was a better fight. Canelo never stopped trying, but you can make an argument that Garcia Matisse fight was a better. I don't know. Garcia kind of handled him to me. Like he broke his spirit a bit. So never mind. Forget my statement.
Well, I mean, it still, had the anticipation. Like it was a very anticipated fight. It was, you know, at the time, it was the biggest fight that could be made at 140 pounds. So, with that, that's kind of like, what we got in this instance. So that kind of thing is, like I said, fairly disappointing. Hopefully, more things develop where you probably would get, better matchups or better matches for this particular, undercard. But it remains to be seen. We got like another 5 weeks or so before this fight takes place. So, um, they probably already do have the type of card that they want to construct. Just had a couple of technicalities before they make it all official. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know about this, man. I mean, some people buy the pay per view, but you don't have to check the undercard. I mean, what's the point of investing the money? Like me and Matt have had this discussion before. You have Fox, putting in work to promote the fight. You had ESPN putting in work to promote the fight after the press conference happened. You saw, the promotion for Wilder Fury 2 on the college football playoff national championship game. So they're putting in the money to advertise that particular fight. But it's like, well, the undercard is kind of. I think what they're kind of feeling is that they're not trying to put too much into filling out the undercard because they're not trying to get the hardcore fans to watch it. They're trying to get the so-called casual fans to watch the main event. You know, some people know about the thing with Tyson Fury being in the WWE. They kind of know about Deontay Wilder being on Showtime shows. So I guess they're kind of going or put themselves behind that and trying to push those two fighters to garner interest in this fight that's going to happen on February 22nd. But yeah, if you don't basically stack the undercard, then you're not going to get the fight fans to talk about the overall card in general outside of Wilder and Fury. And they're not going to be out in the out in the offices
Right
or
here.
desk or anything like that to kind of like promote the whole card. They're not going to talk about it.
I'll
They're like,
holler at you,
"Oh
big
man,
dog.
I know that Wilder and Fury is going to fight each other. You know that Wilder and Fury is going to fight each other, but man, this other fight, Ray Vargas against Emmanuel Navarrete. Oh my goodness, that's going to be bad. That's going to be a top fight right there for Oscar Valdez versus Miguel Berchelt. That's man. I'm telling you, don't miss Oscar Valdez versus Miguel Berchelt. That is going to be a fight. That is something that fight fans would talk about at work, or that will make other people like say, "Hey, maybe I should go ahead
Not
and
only that,
try to look
you
at
telling me a couple Mexicans wouldn't buy the pay per view if Burchell versus Valdez was on the undercard? Come on.
exactly like that's one of the biggest audiences for pay per view right there is Mexican contingent, and you're not going to put Miguel Berchelt against Oscar Valdez on that? Come on, man. Like they ain't really. I'm sorry, but they ain't really following Navarrete like that, man. He's not there, bro. He's not
Yeah,
there. So why not have Berchelt against Valdez on that fight card? You know?
ridiculous, man.
Yeah. So that's basically what we have there for that discussion. I know that Matt is about to jump off into his next speaking engagement.
Hey,
So
man. Yeah, gotta get up in the studio now.
he got to slam it up in the studio. So he is going to be departing here, and so I will thank you and Mike for coming on to this particular live podcast. Actually, you know what? With this being in the middle of the week, I might just do this once a week on Wednesdays. So
That's cool.
basically Just look out for that. So if I just make that formal announcement, I'll just put that on the Boxing Source page on Facebook, so you can follow that on Facebook, and then we got the Boxing Source on Twitter and on Instagram. So thank you all for joining into the discussion here, and I'll catch y'all on the podcast on Sunday night.
All right, thanks for having me, JR. All right, Mike Grady, peace out, bruh.
All right, then I'll holler at y'all.
All right, peace.
Yep.